Between the Pages is made possible by Words and Pictures, located at 2610 Center Street Northeast in Calgary. For all your comic book, anime, toys, and more, stop by Words and Pictures. You'll be glad you did. This episode of Between the Pages is brought to you by Red Skull Comics. Offers the best selection of comics and trade paperbacks in Calgary, with a great selection of manga, games, magic cards, toys, statues, and a whole lot more. Want to be sure your collection is up to date? Then ask the friendly staff about their file services. Need more room for that growing collection? Then ask Red Skull about selling your back issue titles. 18 years and still going strong, Red Skull is the best little comic shop in Western Canada. Visit Red Skull Comics today at 720A Edmonton Trail Northeast in Calgary. Then find them on the web at www.redskull.com and like them on Facebook.
Well, it's another fine Saturday afternoon, and you're here on Between the Pages. Once again, this is episode number 22. I'm your host, Richard Cleveland. As always, I am with my inimitable co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who wears short pants on a Wednesday. It is Mr. Jason Bishop.
Hi, everybody. I have survived the Atlanta siege.
Did you?
I did. See, you got the shirt. Nobody sees the shirt.
That's true. Nobody cares about your shirts, though, because you don't wear really cool shirts like me.
Yeah, nobody can see that either because you're
like me. See, like me.
There we go.
I'm showing off my big man boobs today. So we've got a great show in store for you today. We've got a couple of guests in the studio from a brand new movie that will be hitting theaters hopefully very, very soon. Right now they're touring this movie on the festival circuit, and if you haven't had a chance to see it, we're gonna have some stuff for you to maybe take part in and be a part of this movie in one way, shape, or form before the end of the show. Now, what else we got going on today, Jason? We have got some news.
Yeah, actually, there was the sad passing of Joe Kubert this past 12th, on August 12th. We lost the man, the myth, the legend, Joe Kubert at 85. Joe Kubert's best known for his work on Tarzan, Thor, not Thor, Sergeant Rock, Hawkman, and founding the Kubert Art School, the first of its kind to specialize in teaching people how to be future comic book artists.
Right.
So, yes, Joe Kubert gone at 85. His sons, Adam and Andy, are still carrying on the tradition as popular comic book artists as well.
Right. And Joe just did some work on some of the...
Absolutely, the Watchmen
Some
stuff.
of the before Watchmen and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, he was doing Night Owl, and he's actually got another book coming out that's a bunch of short stories from DC Comics.
Right.
Which should be out October. I'm guessing that the book probably won't see its 6 issues. I don't know how far into production he got with that book, but we'll probably at least see the first 2 or 3 issues.
Very cool. Well, we will miss Mr. Kubert and the wonderful artwork that he has bestowed upon readers of comic books everywhere, and students of his school, I think, will be sorely missing his work as well. So that brings us now to our big thing of the week, our big special of this week. We're deviating. If you've been reading our blog post this week or you've been on our Facebook, we said we're dispensing with the whole comic book thing.
For part of the show.
For most of the show this week. We are still going to do our reviews. But before we get into that, we do have some people to thank. And first and foremost, we need to thank Gorilla Printing. Gorilla Printing provides us with all of our printing needs. If you need something printed up, whether it be business cards or even trade show banners and everything in between, Gorilla Printing is the place to go. They ship all across Canada, very reasonable rates, and the turnaround time is very, very quick. We got our stuff in about 6 days. And you can find them at gorillaprinting.ca. Next, we have to thank the fellows over at Red Skull Comics. It's located at 720A Edmonton Trail Northeast. Red Skull Comics has all your comic needs. They are the best little comic shop in Western Canada. So check them out at redskull.com. That's REDDSKULL.com. Now, let's move on to our big thing of the week. And that's Jason. He's not our big thing of the week.
They see me every week.
Yeah, they see you every week. I'm trying to manipulate mice and keyboards and, you know.
Now we're here at the Cineplex Odeon in Eau Claire Center right here in Calgary, Alberta for the opening of Lloyd the Conqueror. This is a screening for cast and crew, family members and friends, and I'm here with producer Brendan. How are you today?
We're super excited. It's a thank you screening to all of Calgary, and we couldn't be happier that it's sold out.
Now, Brendan, tell me a little bit about this film and what it took to get the film to where it is today.
It took about 6 years of Mike and I just consistently hitting our heads against the same part of a wall until that wall cracked and we could actually make a movie of this size. And we were lucky enough to be able to do it here at home.
And what are you hoping from the audience with this picture?
Well, I mean, it's a crowd-pleasing film, and it's doing very well on the festival circuits, and we really just want to increase its exposure here at home because as it goes into its successes around the world, we want to make sure that Calgary is as proud of it as they can be.
Fabulous, and there's an all-star lineup in this movie as well.
Well, if you're a fan of comedy, then yeah, you'll know the guys that are in this, like Harland Williams and Brian Posehn and Mike Smith, who's better known as Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys, and then a whole whack of up-and-comers like Darcy Michael and Scott Patey. So really funny guys. That's where we put our casting choices.
Excellent. Well, let's go check out the trailer, and then we'll come back to the studio.
There will be no final battle at the end of this year's season. They said you're scaring everyone off.
All we must do is recruit a few fools.
We really need to pass this class. We will literally do whatever it takes.
I want you to register in my LARPing league.
Live-action role-playing, or LARPing, it is many things to many people.
Don't you guys just bang each other with fake swords?
And you could say that sex is wrestling without clothes on.
Dude, have you even had sex?
Trust me, I've wrestled without clothes on.
Should have listened to you when you were trying to convince us not to join.
It wouldn't be a terrible idea to think about maybe adding somebody more warriorly.
My real passion is competitive cage fighting, but I'm banned from all the circuits due to unnecessary cruelty.
You actually have a chance at winning.
I've scheduled a very special training session. It'll be just like you're surrounded by actual perverts.
You think you're so big, don't you, Lloyd?
Just regular size.
First we get surrounded, then Leopold beats the crap out of us, then we lose the game and fail the class.
I wanted to show him that we're not just going to roll over and take it. We will stand, and we will conquer.
I demand a cooler costume!
We have to defeat the Darth Vader of LARPing.
Look at my cool helmet!
I would never compare these epic events to that crude space opera.
Every great leader must ride to battle on a worthy steed. Mount him.
That was intense.
We're not done yet.
Back off!
Just like a Vulcan to bring a phaser to a magic fight.
And there you go, Lloyd the Conqueror, a movie that I had the pleasure of seeing along with Jason, my co-host. We got to see this movie on Wednesday night at the Odeon Cineplex at Eau Claire. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Famous players.
Famous players, yeah. You know, Cineplex, whatever. In any case, this movie, if you have not been fortunate enough to find it on the festival circuit, well, we've got a treat for you today. We have the producer and co-writer of director and co-writer of the film, as well as one of the actors from the film whose part in the film, as far as I'm concerned, just stole the show. They could do a whole film on him all by himself, and that is Mr. Michael Roik. I hope I got that right. Yeah. And Michael Peterson.
Hey.
Two Michaels.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Go to that camera. There you go. There you go. So now, guys, tell me a little bit about how this movie came about. Like, I understand there was quite a lead-up time before you actually got into production.
Yeah, we probably started Me and the co-writer started writing it probably about 6 years maybe before we shot it.
And how did you come up with this idea to do this movie?
He was working he was a video game tester in LA, and we were roommates before that, and then I moved back to Calgary, and we'd written some other things together. So he was talking, a friend of ours came and said, it's not like a super interesting story, but I'll tell you.
Okay.
This friend of ours was working for a production company. He wanted us to do a spec script about Renaissance fairs. And then my co-writer was video game testing and working with some guys who were LARPing, and then he was telling me about it, and I was going to do it as a documentary. But then someone was already doing that, which was Darkon and another one at the time. So I don't know how many LARPing documentaries people want to see. So it seemed like a really fun world to, seemed like a more fun world than Renaissance fairs to explore and kind of, have some fun with. And I don't LARP myself, but, I played D&D, and I'm a comic book guy, and I love Conan, and, there was enough similarities that I felt like I wasn't like a total outsider kind of slumming it.
Right.
So.
Now, how was the decision made to go to a comedy as opposed to the documentary that you were originally looking at in the beginning?
Well, me and this guy had written some comedy stuff before, so it just seemed like a natural fit.
Natural way to go.
I don't think I don't want to see like a serious, dramatic thriller mystery or something in a LARPing environment. That doesn't seem that interesting to me. I think they did
How
it on
did he
CSI
die?
or something anyway.
He died with a foam sword. Behind the tent.
Now,
It's automatically
Who killed him?
comedy.
We've been saying a lot LARPing. For those of you at home, LARPing is live action role play.
That's right.
Yeah, so for you guys who don't know what the slang is, you're out there with the swords and stuff, just like the trailer.
We met some people in Copenhagen who were LARPers, and it was serious. Like some of the LARPs they did were intense, like prisons and 1980s AIDS epidemics.
Wow.
Really heavy stuff.
Really heavy, far out stuff. That was
the one they were telling us. They actually did a little chapbook kind of thing on it, but it was like a near future world where they put all the dystopian future where they put all the immigrants in prisons, and like concentration camp kind of prisons. And anyway, so these guys did that LARP. So some people were prison guards, some people were, prisoners, and they're sleeping on crappy mattresses.
Like not fun, haha. Like, hey, let's bat around arrows and stuff.
There was like a TV show, now that I think about it, that they had this dystopian future, and it was like literally a reality show about LARPing. They stuck them in this post-apocalyptic world where they have to survive, and occasionally they get attacked by people from the outside and from their camp, and it was a whole reality show. It wasn't a scripted show, and I'm like, how do you do that?
They do it, but that's definitely a different kind of take on it. Like the people that did that LARP, like after they went home from the LARP, because there was like special things that would simulate rape and stuff like it was heavy, pretty heavy, as heavy as I think you can get. Dark.
Wow.
So like when they went home, a bunch of people couldn't sleep on their own mattresses because they felt so much guilt over this experience that they had, that they had so much that they weren't able to sleep on their own mattresses, so they'd sleep beside their mattress on the hard floor for 3 months afterwards.
Holy cow.
It's quite impactful. I mean, it almost becomes like a political tool at that point.
Yeah.
It's pretty fascinating.
Wow. I mean, that's requiring therapy after that kind of LARPing.
I think so.
Post-traumatic LARP syndrome.
Yeah.
That's right.
Now, you guys went out to obviously get some very good comedians to be in this movie. Brian Posen, Mike Smith, who we all know as Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys, and Harlan Williams.
Yeah.
How did you get those three guys in there?
The simple answer is we sent the script to their agent, and they thought it was funny. I mean, that's the simple answer. There was also when one guy signed on, then the other guy would sign on. So they Bubbles, Mike Smith still thinks I tricked him, and told him that Brian signed on. to get him to sign on, and then told Brian that Mike had signed on, and then kind of played them against each other or for each other, whatever. But that's not. I don't think that's true.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it was great. Like, you send, like, you know, legendary comedian like Brian Posehn, who's like a fantastic writer, super funny guy, stand-up's great. Usually does, you know, smaller roles. He's kind of like the guy that comes on and gives like the funny couple lines, like the priest or whatever in Fantastic Four and stuff like that. You know, like So
I forgot he was the priest in Fantastic Four.
So I was making fun of the movie to him on set one day, and he's like, "I'm in that." I'm like, "Oh yeah, right. It's also had some good things in it." Whoops.
Oops.
Yeah.
Now, I'd never seen Mike Smith in anything but his Bubbles role.
Yeah.
Like, him in this movie is like a total departure from anything I've seen him play before.
Night and day.
I watched an interview with him earlier in the week where he was saying that he wanted to kind of play it as a very sort of Monty Python-esque type of character, and then he realized that that's really not the character, and so he went the direction that he went. And how was that for you guys? I mean, there must have been a lot of cracking up with his seriousness to this role.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was, that made it funnier, of course, right? I mean, if the guy's trying to play goofy, it's not usually that funny.
Right.
But if the character really buys into it and then delivers the funny lines and is coming from like an honest place, that usually makes things a lot funnier. I hadn't seen him in anything else either, right? Other than the Bubbles character.
Right.
So, I mean, I was really interested in it because I assumed he could, you know, do a lot of other stuff with the character work he did with Bubbles, but I just hadn't seen it. So I did ask for an audition tape from him because, you know, I don't know,
what else can you do?
What else can you do? So, you know, eventually he did that, and I was like, that's great. Like, what he had done was, it's one of those, you just sometimes, you know, when you get one of those tapes and you're just like, that guy did that extra work and took it in a direction that isn't sort of the obvious direction.
Right.
And it just, we talked about it a bit more, and yeah, it was great, and sort of had a lot of the same ideas about the character anyways.
Well, you certainly made Derek a dick.
Yeah. He's like a super dick.
Oh, big time.
I know, I love it.
He really had like serious supervillain thing going on there.
Oh, big time. Now, I wanted to ask you guys how much ad-libbing actually went on in this movie. And how much of that was actually filmed and made it into the movie. I'm going to ask you a little bit about your character yet too, Mike.
Yeah. Were you there for any of those days?
Yeah, I saw a lot of it because I read the script a couple times, and there was quite a bit of ad-libbing. Like Harland Williams, he ad-libbed a ton, and even Mike Smith during some of the just pre-battle, some of that banter was
like
ad-lib.
There was a bit, but there were certain scenes that weren't ad-libbed at all. If I had to guess a number, I'd say 10%.
Okay.
But, you know, it'd usually be like a line within a scene. So taking what's written and then adding a
putting
line
their own spin on it.
Or changing a line that they saw an opportunity, or we would talk about something.
Or the cameras are still rolling and they just add one little
like a little hit, or not telling them something and getting the other guys to say stuff.
Right.
So that you can see how the reactions work off of that. But yeah, I mean, just some scenes weren't good for improvising, and we didn't have that much time, right? We shot it in 15 days, right? So
yeah, we were talking about that after the movie, and we're going, geez, that's a fast turnaround time to, you know, go from beginning to end of shooting schedule, and then get it into post-production.
Yeah.
How long was post?
Like a year.
That's what I was saying. I'm like 2 weeks to shoot, a year to editing.
Something's not right. I mean, like the music took forever. Things like the music took forever, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to lock the picture. You have to have all the music.
And you had a lot of bands in there too, and yeah, you got to get all the releases for the music. But you had a bunch of original pieces for the.
Yeah, they were all originals.
Yeah.
One's a cover of a song, but it's, you know, original in the sense that it's not the band that, like, it's not Rush that's doing it, it's 3 Inches of Blood.
Yeah.
You had the Prague Orchestra?
Yeah, and when the Prague Symphony Orchestra did it, so we had the Dave Pierce and Donovan Seidel that did the score. They had a moment where they could take advantage of some time they had with the Prague Symphony Orchestra for something else that they were doing.
Oh, okay.
Right? So they kind of snuck it in there on the tail end of some of these things, and I don't know if They were like, I don't know how it worked out though. That's what I.
But
did.
you got a good film out of it.
Yeah. And they wrote great music for it.
Yeah.
And the bands all wrote those songs for the film, right? So they're all originals for the film. And we're going to put a soundtrack out as well with Century Media Records.
Excellent.
Sometime before the end of the year.
Put me down for one of those. I like.
Yeah, I'll take one.
Metal.
Heavy metal.
Yeah, heavy metal.
It's a lot of metal and
hard rock. Some of it, I don't know how you.
Some of it was hard rock. There was metal. I'd even say a couple of them were industrial.
I call that stuff thrash, but I'm an old guy.
I mean, I love the music. Like
right.
every song, I think is like it's stuff I would listen to.
Yeah.
Sure.
And they're bands that I really respect. So it was pretty cool because I can't play music, so that's kind of my in with the band. That's how I can be cool. Hang out with the band, get them to write music for it.
There you go. So
maybe.
Mike, let's talk about your character for a second.
Sure.
Now, you appear mainly at the end of the film.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really see your character in the beginning and into the second act.
Yeah, not a big arc.
Yeah, not a big arc.
It's the climactic scene.
It's the climactic scene. Now, you play a centaur in the movie.
That's right.
And how was it getting into the mindset to play that character? Because you're a stage actor originally, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm an improviser.
Okay.
Really, I learned how to improvise here in Calgary at the Loose Moose Theater, and the direction I got from Mike during on the shoot, just before the camera started rolling, was because we'd done a couple kind of walkthroughs of, here's where you're going to walk, here's what you want to do, and Mike came up and said, be more frenetic and horsey. That's the only direction I got ever on set the entire time. So being an improviser and one of the big things is just commitment and taking things all the way. When you find your character, then just play it out 100%. So that's what I did. I was horsey and frenetic, all full bore.
You looked like you were ready to charge. You were just like, I just want to take somebody's head off. And during the scene, I'm seeing Mike Smith in the back, right, who's supposed to be riding you, and he's like, "Whoa, Jesus, whoa!" Now, did he actually have trouble reining you in?
No, he just we were kind of chatting during in between the takes, and he was just like, "You just go," and I guess I'm following because he's literally strapped into the back of me, right?
He's all velcroed in behind you.
Yeah, and actually clipped in.
I think we had a time in because the opening was not working right or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you guys filmed this in the fall of 2010, right?
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, fall of 2010. What was the weather like for you being out there with no shirt on?
It was cold.
Yeah, you had these little tiny suspenders covering your chest bumps there, and
well, it's like during the day, middle of the day was gorgeous, lying around in the sun. It was beautiful, and then some of the shoots that I did were very early, so I'd do a take, and then somebody would come and give me a great big coat because it was really cold.
Right.
And then by the time we filmed some of the other scenes, it was really really late. So again, it was cold. And
what did we have 3 days for that?
Yeah.
To shoot that whole scene.
To shoot all the battle stuff, maybe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think Darcy Michaels was a little warmer in his unicorn costume. The guy who built them, Ken Gardner, has been making puppets for 20 odd years, and
he's also a loose mooser.
Yeah, he was also a loose mooser.
Oh,
one
wow.
of my mentors. Yeah.
There's lots of loose moose guys in the film.
Right.
And those guys, the way they train them, they have a commitment when they perform that you could see in Michael's performance.
Oh yeah, you were committed to that role for sure, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a seriousness. They take the most ridiculous things they commit to and take seriously.
Right.
Which helps the comedy.
Yeah. Well, even your background actors, they stand out. I mean, you have the dojo scenes, and each one of those people, you can tell, is committed to that part. Even though they don't have lines.
Yeah, the people really bought in, They really bought in, and they were there. They weren't just kind of, waiting for the lunch to show up.
I was curious about the guy in the Women's Defense Course.
Oh yeah,
that was baffling me too.
Is there a scene missing? Is there what's the story?
No, it's just a funny anomaly.
Okay,
was the idea, and then when he
it works
when he approaches when he approaches Leopold, you expect kind of a different outcome, but he's, you know, I won't ruin it,
No.
but you know, you expect a
spoilers.
different outcome.
Yeah.
But he was actually, I actually cast a different guy in that role, and then there was a scheduling. Someone made a mistake, I guess.
Mhm.
So the guy that was supposed to be there, he was coming from Edmonton. So like, oh, he's not here. Can you wait three and a half hours? And I'm like, no, we're like shooting right now. Why isn't he here? And then they're like, well, we could use someone else. I'm like, yeah, okay. So there was this guy who was doing some stunt type work. And
Ryan?
Ryan Lotzer is the actor's name.
Okay.
And he's more of a stunt guy. So he looked like a mountain man, right? He had a beard like this and like long hair. And I'm like, hey man, you want a different part? Because he's super lean and skinny and has like it had the right look for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, will you shave your beard off that you've been growing for 8 months and cut your hair
Which
into a buzz cut
for 2 years. It was really long.
It was really long.
You look like Alan Moore.
Yeah, he looked like Alan Moore, but easier to talk with maybe. So like one of the ADs are like, you can't do that to him. Look at how long his hair is. He's been growing that for years. I was like, well, if he wants to do it, he's an adult. It's up to him.
Yeah.
You know? And he's like, yeah, sure, I'm game. And since that point, I've worked with him actually quite a few times because he's just such a gamer, you know? Like, he's just always, he's in.
Yeah. Hades don't know nothing.
What's that?
Hades don't know nothing.
They know stuff, but not that part. You know? And he was,
it's not their call.
I'll do it.
So yeah, it was totally just like just happenstance on the day.
Yeah.
Right.
And it worked out great, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he stands out, and he's good comedy for that scene.
You know, I'm going to get a letter from the DGC now saying that 80s don't know nothing.
No, I think they sort of closed their office here anyways.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, sort of.
Oh, okay.
80s work very hard and are never...
Yeah, they're super important,
and they're the most hated guy on set because they're the ones trying to keep you working.
But they're not on the casting side.
Yeah, there you go. Now, I wanted to ask you about the lighting in this film because it seemed like you guys used a lot of natural lighting and maybe just used bounce cards and softeners and scrims and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Was that the way it was for you, or did you use a lot of industrial lighting?
For the exterior stuff, we used very minimal lighting, and it was more shaping light, existing light.
Right.
We used redirecting shaping light for the exterior scenes.
Okay.
I think all the way through. I don't think, except for there might have been a couple nighttime shots where we used some light, but it was still pretty much bouncing shaping light, existing light.
So you took the Clerks model and put it into this film and got it done in 15 days.
Yeah, I guess so. It was a pretty ambitious project for 15 days.
Right.
I mean, the storyboards that I had were like, telephone book. I didn't end up using a lot of them, but
right.
It had been thought through all the way. Even if you throw them out, at least you've kind of gone through sort of the idea and the important beats in the scene, and then visually you can restructure it based on setting and whatever has gone wrong that day.
And this was totally shot in Calgary.
Yeah.
That's something a lot of people don't know. And how's that been for you guys on the festival circuit? Like saying to potential distributors that we shot this in one city in 15 days, and look what we've been able to come up with.
Well, I think the day count has impressed a lot of them, and those weren't 18-hour days; those were like 10, 11-hour days.
Right.
So it wasn't like attacking on 5 days just by making crazy hours. It's definitely helped, and I think it's helped sort of give some confidence in the next film that I want to make with some of these distributors, so that hopefully we can do pre-sales and do the financing a little bit differently.
Okay.
All privately funded, right?
Yeah, because we did this all privately.
Oh wow.
Right.
That's how we do this. It's all privately funded.
Yeah, exactly.
We ask for donations every week, but
Actually, I got a question, Mike.
Yeah.
Because at the very end of the movie, at the end of the credits, it says Government of Alberta.
Yeah.
What was their part in? Did they fund it all? Was there something there? Or what is that?
Well, the way it works most provinces work this way, but the way it works in to some variation of this, there's like a tax credit or a grant, but it's based on what you spend. So if you spend, $1 million,
right,
you'll get 30% back, give or take, or some percentage therein. You'd be an idiot not to take that money.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you know, at the end of your movie, it says Government of Alberta.
Yeah, because they gave you some coinage, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I know the city commission and the provincial commission were like super helpful, and still are being helpful.
Wow, that's
so, yeah,
awesome.
We had buy-in like really like all the way through from the extras to the bureaucrats.
Oh wow!
Every time I go down to City Hall to like get a permit or something, I find those guys great.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't had to deal with them yet, except for the licensing for the Naked Ape Productions company that puts on this show every week. They don't know how to classify me.
How do you classify yourself?
Well, I classify myself as an entertainment internet broadcaster.
Yeah.
But they don't know how to classify me to give me a license, to give me a business license. It's really strange, yeah.
So what did they just kind of put it in the to-do?
Yeah, it's in the to-do. It's in the to-do pile. Do you make money? Not really, but sometimes I do. And
on a good day.
And where do you broadcast from? Oh, my basement. You know, we built a studio in my basement.
Yeah, well, thanks for not murdering me when I first.
Hey,
got here.
no problem.
Often when I go to strange new places and I get invited to the basement.
We do have some swords upstairs, and there's a lightsaber around here somewhere.
Well, as long as I make it out alive.
Oh, you'll make it out.
Oh, they're only used to swords with foam.
That's right. Yeah.
And duct tape.
And duct tape.
Yeah, we made all those. Like not the really nice Kalamazoo ones. Those were obviously from Kalamazoo, who makes weapons for LARPers.
Right.
But all the other ones we made, like we had these big like sword making sessions,
right,
and armor making sessions with anywhere from like 10 to 25 people for about 3 or 4 nights.
Wow.
Basically went to the beer store, bought a shit ton of beer, got the duct tape, got the foam, or what was that thing, the it's like a foam cutter.
Okay.
Right, that my buddy's got, so we just like cut out these, it's like a 6-foot block of foam.
Right, like a hot wire.
Swords. Yeah, that's right. And we just went crazy, and tons of people helped with that. That
all the shields
had nothing to do with the movie, really.
Wow.
In any other way.
Night, yeah.
So some crafts night, and then
we're
ready to do production. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, one Rubbermaid garbage can makes 1.5 suits of armor, I think.
Wow.
Or it actually makes 2, because you can use the top and the bottom as a shield, and then
Now the helmet that Mike wears in the movie.
Yeah.
I've seen that helmet before.
Where?
I'm pretty sure that's a Lord of the Rings helmet. Am I not mistaken?
Oh, jeez, I'm trying to remember where that sucker came from.
Oh,
because it looks like a Lord of the Rings helmet. Like one of the elves were wearing a helmet similar to that.
We went to a LARPing like outfitter, and they had all the Lord of the Rings stuff, and I think I might have seen that helmet with the big nose piece there too. Maybe it must be some kind of generic.
Yeah, I want to say this guy Sheldon Maxwell made it.
Okay.
He was the guy wearing the full suit of armor.
Okay.
And I want to say he made it because he makes some of that stuff, and then there was another guy in the crew that also makes that stuff. So I want to say that one of those guys made it.
Okay.
And they just kind of said, "I've got this stuff if you want to use that."
Wow. So you film all the battle scenes back to back over a couple of days or 3 days, right?
Yeah.
And how did your production schedule work for getting the other shots that you needed, like in the dojo and those street shots? Did you do a lot of prep work to get into those?
Yeah, we did a bit. Like usually at the beginning of any shoot, you do a tech survey.
Right.
You get your locations, then you get sort of the department heads. Do a tech survey of the different locations so that each person can kind of assess it out from whatever their needs are. So the grip guys might be looking for power.
Right.
The production design guys like figuring out where you might have to build a wall that isn't there, and that sort of thing. And that the dojo was key. I mean, it's the name on it is actually the name
right
of the place. It's over in Ranchlands in Calgary. And he just let us use it, and I think we built a wall in there, but that was it.
Oh wow. Now, the 3 young guys you had in the film, how did you get those guys involved? Because they all seem like such different personalities, and yet they all seem to, like a group of rebels getting together and going after the Death Star. They all seem to work together really well.
Yeah, I mean, that was really just casting. Just saw a lot of tapes, did a lot of casting. We went out to Vancouver. We got tapes from Toronto, It was Canada wide.
Okay.
And we just, I think, got lucky. And like the first guy we cast out of that group was the guy that plays Oswald, Scott Patey.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like perfect for how we conceived the role.
Right.
And the other guys, you know, they weren't how we originally conceived of those characters,
Mm-hmm.
but they were the best guys for the role, you know. And the stuff they brought was a little bit different than sort of how it was envisioned during writing, but they ended up sort of making it their own and bringing the stuff that made it right. But I mean, those were like all of the casting was stuff that I fought for. There were other names that were submitted that were guys that I didn't feel were that funny or didn't just tickle me the right way, but they might have had bigger names.
Okay.
But I was adamant that if I was going to fail, it was going to be on my own terms, you know.
Right. Now, the young man who played Lloyd,
Yeah.
he was on Degrassi, was he not?
Yeah, he was on Degrassi and a TV show called Baxter. And then he's just done two or three movies since then, I think.
Wow.
He moved to LA, and I think he's finding success there.
Very good for him. Very good.
Yeah, he's a strong actor, and he's a good-looking guy. I think he's more into the kind of the character type acting, but you know, that's going to be probably his challenge, is finding those character roles as a good-looking guy and a beautiful head of hair. Gorgeous.
I was kind of jealous.
Did you have to rework any scenes in a major way after casting them and seeing that, okay, this character's going to be quite a bit different the way this actor's portraying it? Do you have to do any major rewrites?
No, not at all. The only we only did two rewrites, and that was one for Darcy Michael. Excuse me, just getting over a cold.
Sorry.
Darcy Michael came in and auditioned for a part that he was totally inappropriate for, age-wise. You know, he's like coming in, I'll play a 20-year-old guy or whatever, and I'm like, how old are you? 35-year-old uncle, you know. And he had like big beard and looked like a biker stoner guy.
Oh yeah.
And
doesn't look like that now.
He doesn't look like that at all now. He's very hairless.
And svelte.
Yeah, he's svelte. But so I saw him, and he's just really funny. So we wrote the unicorn role for him, right? There was no unicorn before his audition,
okay.
right? At all.
Oh, okay, so he was
like pretty funny. We'll make the two generals on their mounts.
Okay.
You know? So it ended up just improving it, you know?
Yeah.
And then the only other like big rewrite that happened sort of during a scene was Cassandra's sort of back to school special speech.
Right.
It's like really inappropriate.
Yeah.
That I wrote on a napkin during lunch.
Here's your script.
Yeah, and I was like, I made one change to this scene. You know, just insert that line here. And she's like, you want me to memorize this? I'm like, yeah, or more or less, you know?
Yeah.
So she's a super pro, so she's like scared, you know, shitless, basically, like having to memorize this scene. I've given her like 2 minutes before she's on camera.
Yeah.
But she did great with it, I thought. To me, that's like a really funny scene.
Yeah.
You know, and then you've got the back to school special music underneath it.
Great.
It's sort of like an inappropriate version of that kind of a speech.
I like it.
Yeah, I got to say, you guys have put together a hell of a movie. One last question I wanted to ask is, when can people expect to see it in theaters? What are you shooting for an actual release date?
January 2013.
January 2013.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're hoping to do some type of theatrical release in Canada. That might be very small scale. It might be larger scale. It's hard to say. We might do the theatrical release on our own, you know, just take it out to sort of rep theaters across Canada.
Right.
Or, you know, maybe it goes through a larger distributor. It's really hard to say. I mean, you don't make any money in the theaters, basically, so it's almost like an ego gratification thing at some point and an awareness thing.
Right.
And it's really expensive and you don't get the money back, so it's hard to talk people into that.
And you shot this all digitally, of course.
Yeah, we shot it on the Red camera.
Oh, the Red. Okay,
Yeah,
very nice camera.
I want to mess with that camera.
Yeah, they're great cameras.
Yeah.
I think it's like the equivalent of the 16 mil.
Now, you're touring it around in festivals and other territories. If somebody wants to get a hold of you and demand a screening in their territory, how would they do that?
Go to the website, lloydtheconqueror.com. visit us on Facebook. Facebook, Lloyd the Conqueror. I don't know where it is, but it's on there.
Yeah, it's Lloyd the Conqueror on Facebook. Yeah.
You can like it straight from their page.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, people get in touch with us frequently on that and ask for interviews or, ask us questions about the film. And it's either myself or Brendan that get back to you. And Brendan's the producer that I think you heard.
Yes.
A few minutes ago.
Yeah, at the top of the show.
And also one of the Danes.
And one of the Danes.
That's right. He was in the movie.
Yeah,
he's got some credits himself. I was looking him up on IMDb. He's got actually quite a bit of acting behind him, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's how we met.
Yeah.
He acted in the first thing I shot when I moved back to Calgary.
Was that the Santa Baby one?
No. Yeah,
I just had to bring it up because that's hilarious. I can't believe that was number 2.
No, we did it like a 50 sci-fi short.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, kind of like a Tales of the Crypt type Twilight Zone thing.
These guys need to get a hold of me. This is the kind of stuff I want to make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the kind of stuff I want to be in. Is like one of those old radio jocks.
I don't want to be in. I just want to help make them. They're fun.
That 2-second little bit part where.
Yeah, sure. I'll let you know the next one.
There we go.
You're listening to KX96, the 50s hits.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't do that anymore. But anyways, guys, we want to thank you for coming into the studio. Now, you wanted to tell the folks out there that you've got something you want to give to them.
Yeah, we have something very, very, very special.
Very, very, very special.
Yeah.
Triple very.
Triple very special.
Triple very special.
We've got 3 things, so I don't know. You can decide how you want to give these away, right?
Okay.
I'd say there's sort of a scale of greatness to them. So,
okay, let's start off with the least great.
Okay, would be a physical copy of the sheet music score of the film.
Okay.
Stapled together with solid stainless steel staples.
Very nice.
And
they're not chinsing out on this.
They're not chinsing out?
No, not at all.
It's not like a plastic paper clip, guys.
No.
Do they get a manila cover?
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't want to get myself in over my head.
And that will be signed, of course.
Yeah. We'll sign it with as many people as we can get a hold of.
Cool.
And that was the score done by Donovan Seidel and Dave Pierce, and in the movie it's done by the Prague Symphony Orchestra.
Okay.
And then the second one, so sheet music.
Sheet music is prize number 3.
Yeah. Second one.
Amazing.
Yes.
T-shirt, Lloyd the Conqueror T-shirt.
Just like this one.
Which you're wearing right there.
And black or white.
Okay.
Whatever size you want, as long as you fit between small to 2XL. And also a copy of the score.
Okay.
As sheet music. And then
signed and stapled.
Signed and stapled.
You might have to pick it up, or we might deliver it to you.
Okay.
It's hard to say, but we can sort those details out. And then thirdly,
this one's a good one, folks.
Yeah.
This is the big
ladies,
one.
Listen up. Listen up,
ladies. Yeah. It's a special breakfast date at a restaurant of our choosing.
So possibly McDonald's.
Possibly McDonald's, possibly Denny's, possibly a nicer place. Who knows?
Okay.
Maybe it's notable.
Maybe it's notable.
There's a really great breakfast place on the Edmonton Trail, just saying.
Maybe there, yeah, right?
Maybe.
And that would be a breakfast with Michael Royk, the centaur, hunky guy, real hunk.
Look at that.
He's very fit. Yeah. Great
Watch
smile.
the movie. He's got his shirt off, girls.
Yeah. And myself. Yeah.
He'll keep his shirt on.
And we'll give you a T-shirt.
Very nice.
And a copy of the score.
So there you go.
And you can chat with them and learn about
learn about the film.
And comedy.
Find out when they're doing their next screening in Calgary. And when is that going to be? When have you guys planned that?
I think we're doing the Red and White Expo.
Right. We're going to be there as well.
We'll be there.
Actually.
Yeah, I don't know what the details are on that yet, but
okay.
We're planning on doing a screening there, and I believe we're going to have a booth at that as well.
Cool.
And then next, we're the other places that we're screening are, I think the next one's Portland at Rose City Comic Convention. And we're one of the featured events at that, and we'll be out there as well. I think. Are you coming to that?
Portland, I hope to.
Yeah, so that's the September 7th, 8th, 9th, whatever the Saturday, Sunday is.
Okay.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't know. Rose City Comic Con. You'll find it if you search that out.
All right. Now, the only way you're going to win this stuff, folks, is by going to our Facebook page, liking us, making sure that you go over to Lloyd the Conqueror. We're going to post all the details for that as well. You want to like Lloyd the Conqueror on Facebook as well, and we'll take the top 3 or the first 3 people that sign on for that. Just say, "Give me Lloyd the Conqueror," and we'll make sure that you are entered and your name gets pulled for that. So it's the first 3 people that go to Facebook and do that. We'll be checking over the next few days. By the time our next show comes, which is next Saturday, we will reveal the 3 people that will be taking home these prizes. So the first person to come on is going to get the score signed with staples. Second person to tell us that they want it is going to get the score and a T-shirt with staples. And the third person will get the big prize, breakfast with these 2 fine fellas, the score, and a T-shirt, and some nice staples.
Everybody's going to be sitting on Facebook waiting for the first 2 to come by.
Ah, yes.
Maybe we should reverse that.
Yeah, okay. Well, we can reverse it. Just start going to our Facebook page, and just the first 3 people there will get you in. So
Yeah.
thanks, guys, for coming by.
Thanks for having us. And check out the trailer online.
Yeah, check out the trailer. We ran it today, and the trailer is at LloydTheConqueror.com, and you can check out the synopsis, find out who all the actors are, and there's some goodies that you can download as well. Backgrounds for your computer, your iPhone, I believe, and your iPad. I think there's all kinds of stuff that you can download. Posters.
Show support for Canadian film.
Yes, Canadian film gets the backhand sometimes, and Canadian film needs more support, I think. Because we got a Hollywood up here, and people don't know about it.
Well, I'm okay not being a Hollywood. I lived out there for a while.
Right.
I'm okay living in Calgary, making movies here.
Very cool.
It's nice.
What's next on your project list after this?
I'm writing some stuff. I might be potentially adapting a local comic book artist property into a film.
Very cool.
That's sort of on the hush-hush right now. It's moving. Who knows? These projects can always die at any point. So
sure.
But the next hard one that I've got is a sci-fi script called Spawning Ground that I wrote with a really talented local writer named Kevin Cockle. Great sci-fi horror writer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a dark, violent, sexual, dystopic, ugly, nasty sci-fi.
That's our kind of show.
Yeah. Lots of violence. Lots of
sex and violence.
Sex and violence. Yeah.
No jokes.
No jokes.
There's one joke.
There's one joke?
Yeah, there's one joke.
Okay.
I think it's funny.
Well, don't blow it, because there's only one joke.
Now, Mike, where can people find you here locally, and what are you doing next?
Next Saturday, in fact, I've got a show at Loose Moose Theater.
Okay.
Go to loosemoose.com. You can see the schedule. I also direct kid shows with adults in them for children.
Okay.
Which is a lot of fun. And typically on Friday nights, you can catch me at the Loose Moose Theater out in Crossroads Market, doing shows every night, every Friday at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Improvised with a lot of other people.
Very
Some
cool.
of which you'll see in the movie, like Dave Lawrence, Gavin Williams, who's in Toronto now, but
right.
Yeah.
Very cool. So go check out the Loose Moose if you're in town, and if you're coming to town, go check out the Loose Moose, and keep your eyes open for Lloyd the Conqueror, hopefully hitting theaters January of 2013, and if not, we'll see it on DVD.
Yeah.
But we hope to see it
watch
in
your
theaters.
local film festivals.
Yeah, watch your local film festivals. Yeah, definitely.
Don't illegally download.
Oh yeah, I mean, don't.
Why do you encourage people to illegally download?
Didn't Kevin Smith make his Red State available on an illegal download?
He might have. I know he tried some new stuff with that.
Yeah,
that could have been one of them.
It got a lot of critical acclaim, that movie.
It was pretty good.
I've still got to see it. It sounds interesting.
We can hook you up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hook you up. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. We are moving right along here. Actually, our day's going almost right on time. Wow. We're a little over.
That's all right.
We're a little over.
We got some reviews to do.
Yeah, we've got some reviews, so we're going to move into that. But first and foremost, we have somebody to thank. And who's that?
Me.
You.
No. We're going to thank Words and Pictures over at 2610 Center Street Northeast, right here in Calgary. Come and get your subscriptions over there. You can sign up for whatever titles you like, as well as games. They've expanded into hats, T-shirts, belt buckles. So go check them out. And that is Words and Pictures, 2610 Center Street Northeast, 403-282-8870.
Just before we go into the review, what is new coming at Words and Pictures?
New coming.
We have a Facebook page.
We do have a Facebook page, and the website is coming. You are building it.
I'm building the website. I don't do that for a living, just so if anybody is concerned about that, I don't do that for a living.
The website's coming, so you'll be able to get like virtual tour of the store and check out all the stuff with the cool stuff we have. So, but in the meantime, find us on Facebook and like us there. We have regular posts. We also do film screening giveaways.
Film screaming
sometimes, if they're really good or scary.
Or if they're not. All right, so let's get right into our review this week. We've got 3 books on tap, and I don't even remember what our first one is. Oh, I know what we're doing first. Yeah, we're going to do Pathfinder first. This is a book put out by Dynamite Entertainment. This is #1, based on a popular game. And I found the book itself not to be too bad. The art style is a little cartoony for my taste.
I felt it fell in that Madura style, very Battle Chasers kind of looking and feeling type of story and presentation. They do give a lot of space here to the role-play game itself.
Yeah, they do.
Supplemental material you can use right in your game for Pathfinder. Characters and maps and things like that. The book is written by Jim Zub, who is no stranger to this type of story. You can read his book Skull Kickers from Image. And I mean he does the fantasy stuff quite well, and this is kind of I actually kind of want to play the role play game because it looks like that Battle Chasers type of world. So I don't know.
I've never played the role playing game. Dialogue in this book was pretty simple.
It felt like the World of Warcraft book, and it doesn't stand out amongst the others of its genre for me.
I kind of feel the same way.
Yeah,
but overall, it's not a bad read. It's a fun read.
It's a fun read, but I wouldn't compare it up to high fantasy like Conan or something.
I think the best thing about this book is the cover artwork myself.
Well, there's an array of cover artists. The copy we had was done by Dave Dorman, but all the covers were really nice for this book.
Yeah, really nicely done.
I'm particularly a fan of Dave Dorman, so no complaints on that one.
So next on our little path is X-Men or Avengers versus X-Men #10 or round 10.
That's right. We're getting into the climactic stuff.
End of this story.
Yeah, that's right.
What'd you think of this story overall as far as it's progressed now?
The book's kind of had its ups and downs along the way. It started out of the gate really slow, and then you hit 6, and it's got more story content than the first 5 combined, and then it tapers off again as the Avengers are keep going on the attack and trying to retrieve some of their captured comrades, and they take refuge in the mystic city of Kunlun or whatever, however you pronounce it, Iron Fist's
home
stuff. And they've been training Hope in the ways of the Iron Fist in the hope that she can overcome the Phoenix Force.
Right.
And there's a lot going on here, and in this particular issue, without being too spoilery, the Phoenix Forced version of Cyclops finds out where everybody is.
Right. Now
there's a good old battle going on.
There is a good old battle going on.
This one's brought to us by Ed Brubaker and Adam Kubert.
Right. Now, when we talked about Joe at the top of the show.
That's right.
Now, artwork in this book has been pretty standard throughout the entire run of this.
Yeah, they've been trying to use their top tier artists throughout this series. There's been some big differences in styles throughout this series. When you go from John Romita into somebody like Kubert and I'm blanking on Chung.
Right, right.
So, you know, there's been a lot of different styles on the books, which bring a lot of different flavor to each scene and story arc. But overall, it's actually been a pretty decent read so far. Now, I didn't get a chance to check out any of the AR on this one, which has been sketchy at best.
Well, apparently Marvel did some work on their AR, and it's supposed to all work now. I haven't tested it since that came out. Yeah, supposed to all work now. But you know, maybe we'll check it out. Again, Marvel is giving away a free digital copy of this book. At the end, you can peel off the code, and at some point in time, we'll be giving away this book.
Yeah, and now
in one of the prize packs.
When you see the AR code now on these covers, the one thing I do like about it, if it works, is it's your recap page. You know, you get if you just jumping in, throw your iPad or iPhone over it or whatever, and it'll recap the story thus far for you. And all the other AR codes are going to be like that as well on the cover.
What did you feel about the story in this? I kind of felt that it was a little spotty at best. Like the overall story for this particular issue, the dialogue didn't seem to be quite as snappy as we've seen it in previous issues.
Well, that's the problem when you have 4 different writers coming on board. You're going to have different tones, and Ed writes in a different way. He's a little more subdued,
right?
And he doesn't do the snappy Matt Fraction stuff. He does very serious toned books for the most part. You know, this is the guy who's been doing Captain America for the last, I don't know, 5-6 years, and runs on Daredevil. I mean, he does more serious kind of intrigue, espionage type of stuff. So, kind of fits, but he doesn't. You know, his style of writing fits more with the grounded characters, and he's always struggled with teams.
Okay.
So, yeah, for the most part, I still enjoyed the book. I didn't find it swaying too hard over to his style from somebody else's from the last issue.
Okay.
As much as you might have, but
yeah, I've admittedly I haven't read all of the issues. I've only been able to read what we've been reviewing. I just don't have time to read all the issues.
There's been, it seems to be major tone shifts. It's a very strange, almost schizophrenic book to read at times.
Right.
Because you do have these major changes and shifts in styles of the way a story is being presented or written. I mean, Hickman writes drastically different than Brian Michael Bendis.
Sure, yeah.
So.
Now let's move on to our last book, and this comes to us from DC Comics, as you know we do each and every week. It's this one is Rorschach Before Watchmen #1. This is one that we've been waiting for some time.
That's right.
And the artwork in this spectacular, as far as I'm concerned. This is now my new favorite book. The Comedian has been knocked out of the top spot for me. And this Rorschach book has now become my new favorite book in this series.
Well, I mean, Lee Bermejo's artwork is, you can't argue with that stuff. It's just gorgeous. He brings his A game as usual.
Oh, yeah.
This is more of a traditional detective story. In its presentation, at least thus far, it's just grounded. Rorschach takes place around 1977, so it's a little younger Rorschach, still a wee bit inexperienced.
Right.
Not that he'll ever let it on.
No, he takes quite the beating in this movie,
he certainly
or in
does.
This book.
But he hasn't quite become that character we see in Watchmen yet, where he's holding up the sign, "The end is nigh," and
right,
all that stuff. And we're starting to see some of that story being told here and in Night Owl.
Right, yes.
So he actually gets quite a bit of time in Night Owl.
So how many more books are we expecting out of the Before Watchmen line?
One more right now that's on
Dr.
schedule.
Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan, and we're going to be reviewing that one next week.
Next week, wow.
Yeah.
And then we get into the #2s, and we're going to keep building the Rorschach and rest of Before Watchmen collection, which we will be giving away all in bagged and boarded to one lucky winner when this whole series is done. you will get individual issues, so you won't have to go out and buy the trade paperback.
Now, I'm kind of hoping they'll do a one-shot with this Crimson Corsair stuff at the back, because it is beautifully drawn, and it's. I've been still trying to read it. And
I can't get into it.
Well, at times I'm okay, and other times I'm not. But it's really tough to get into 2-page stories.
Yeah, it is very tough.
Yeah, so I mean that one's been a bit difficult, and it does require you to read all of the titles
to
read the Crimson Corsair stuff. So I would suspect they'll release that as a one-shot near the end of the solicits. And who knows? I mean, there might be something else yet to come with this stuff as well that kind of wraps it up. Who knows? But overall, I mean, Rorschach, I really enjoyed. I don't know if it's made my favorite book yet, but maybe my second favorite.
It's beat out the Comedian for me now.
And, you know, both of Brian Azzarello's books are sitting pretty high on my list of before the Watchmen right now.
All right. So we have a little difference of opinion, but that's okay. We always do every week. Now, what's coming on the shelf, sir? What can people expect to find on Wednesday?
All right. As usual, we got more number 12s from DC, All-Star Western. We got Astonishing X-Men number 53 shipping next week, along with Batman Dark Knight number 12. Before the Watchmen, Dr. Manhattan number 1, which we will be doing a review for. Buffy the Vampire Slayer Spike number 1. So Spike gets a feature shot over at Dark Horse. Let's see what else we got here. Flash number 12, Green Lantern New Guardians number 12, and all that stuff's starting to come together. We're ending story arcs with the Zeros coming next month, so most of the story arcs are coming to an end. Iron Man number 523. A lot of the Marvel stories are coming to an end as well, with new number 1s on the horizon for October, November. Mars Attacks number 3. Because, you know, we like that 50s sci-fi type of stuff. Rocketeer Cargo of Doom from Mark Waid and Boom Studios.
Okay.
Which should be a pretty cool one. Star Trek number 12. Super Dinosaur number 13. Teen Titans number 12. Uncanny X-Men number 17. Venom number 23. And Voodoo number 12. And as well, there is another Watchmen T-shirt coming out with the clock.
Right now you've got the Rorschach T-shirt in the store.
Oh, and Wolverine annual number 1 as well, and that one's going to be by Alan Davis.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of brings our show to a wrap this week. We only went 10 minutes over, no big deal.
Yeah, we did all right.
We did all right. I want to thank our very special guests in the studio this week. As I wander away from my microphone. This week, of course, we had two very fine fellows, Mr. Michael Peterson and Mr. Michael Roy. I hope I got that right. I didn't butcher that too badly.
You got it.
And Michael Peterson, the director and co-writer of Lloyd the Conqueror, and Mike Roy, you played the Centaur in the movie and stole the role. As far as I'm concerned, stole all those scenes. I thought they were brilliant and well done.
Thanks
Good job,
a lot,
fellas.
guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We can make good movies here, you know?
We absolutely can. And I hope you guys will come back to the studio again sometime.
Yeah, we'd love to.
Yeah, great.
Anytime. You guys are always welcome.
Thank you.
We promise we won't kill you on the way out. So that wraps our show for another week, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. And as always, we will see you
between the pages.
Nice.